Welcome to day 3, chapter 3 of building a shed for absolutely nothing, and welcome also to the bottom of my garden. So why are we down here? Well, one of my lovely subscribers left me a comment about how tricky it is to build an entire project for free. And he's not wrong. Anyone can stroll into a DIY superstore and fill a trolley like they're on a game show. But getting stuff for free, that's a whole different sport. And getting everything for free, that's basically the Olympics of tight-fisted ingenuity. The real secret? Planning, preparation, and a borderline obsession with hoarding timber. Because when a lorry load of tongue and groove offcuts turns up at your house, you don't ask questions, you don't hesitate, you smile politely, and you accept it like you've just been gifted the crown jewels. Then you panic slightly because it's blocking the driveway and immediately shift it to somewhere safe and vaguely dry. In this case, under a tarpaulin in the corner for a whole 9 months, which conveniently gave me time to build this wood store down here. But this is actually my second free wood store, meaning I've now made all the mistakes twice, so I can confidently make entirely new ones on this third build, which will be at the top of the garden, where my wife can actually see it. No pressure then. Full builders on the channel, by the way. Dark side are free. Free materials are brilliant, but they're also a bit feral. They're never the right size either. They come preloaded with nails, screws, splinters, and the occasional emotional backstory, which brings me to one of my favourite hobbies, denailing pallets. Honestly, give me 20 or 30 pallets in a free afternoon, and I'm as happy as Larry. There's a lovely 4-hour session of me dismantling 40 pallets in a single day, while also supervising 3 dogs. That's multitasking at its finest. Why do I do it?
It makes me feel good on the inside.
Tools of the trade. You'll want crowbars of various intimidating sizes, car jack, a lump hammer, nippers and wire cutters, chisels and bolsters, pliers, all packed neatly into a suspiciously tidy blue carry bag. That's OCD working overtime. Now, instead of the pallet breaking bag, you can just use this air-powered denailing gun hooked up to an air compressor. Turns out they work on screws too, which does feel a little bit like cheating, but I'll allow it. Top tip, always keep a tub of water underneath when you're denailing, because eventually one of these nails will ping back up and aim directly at your unmentionables. The water stops the bounce, you see. The downside is you look like you've had a little accident. Right, next job. Create a stop block and cut all the tongue and groove slats to size. And I mean all of them. There's loads. What if they're too short? Cut them again, match them with a twin, and pretend it was always the plan. Remember, this isn't a high-end commission. This isn't for the royal family. The standard we're aiming for here is that'll do. And now it's cladding time. We bring a mountain of tongue and groove over to the shed. Tools at the ready, our impact driver with countersink bit, impact driver with a posi drive, rubber mallet, the gentle persuader, foam kneeling pads because my knees are outside of their warranty period. Old age is a terrible thing, although the alternative isn't any better. And of course, the legendary Kelly's ice cream tub. Holds all my screws. Now, I'm not sponsored by Kelly's, but if you're watching, I am open to negotiations, and you know I am cheap. And off we go, drilling and screwing random bits of wood to other random bits of wood until suddenly it looks intentional. To finish off, I whip out a fishing magnet to collect all the rogue nails from yesterday's chaos. Honestly, surprisingly relaxing. It's like metal detecting, but you already know where the treasure is. And then we're left with a big reveal. We'll have a quick look at today's handiwork. The front's done, the back's done. And the other side, yeah, also done, off camera. Because I'm not filming everything, you know. Not bad for a day's work. I actually quite enjoyed that one. So far, we've used 2 sheets of plywood, rescued from a music festival, 8 yellow pallets, courtesy of my flooring mate, tongue and groove offcuts, acquired via strategic ice cream deployment, and screws donated by a friendly builder. And the ice cream tub? Well, yeah, let's not get carried away. I did buy that, but I stand by the video title. On to the roofing, or as we're going to call this part of the chapter, let's see what happens. I clamp a spare tongue and groove slat near the top of the wall. Because I'm ambidextrous, I casually use my left hand to screw it in. Now my son reckons he'd give his right arm to be ambidextrous, but I don't have the time or the patience to explain this to him. Do you even see him in chapter 3 of this build? Clamps off, move them to the other side, and repeat the process while looking deeply unimpressed with life. That's not the mood, that's the sun in my eyes. Yeah, it's the sun. Definitely the sun. Time for the internal roof. Sheet 3 of plywood, again from the music festival. And here I am, staring at them like I'm halfway through a Mensa application and suddenly regretting all my life choices. And the wind kicks in, goes straight through my ears, and any remaining logic just floats away. So we do what any rational person would do. We try a series of increasingly questionable ideas. We ignore most of them, carry on anyway. Perseverance, apparently, is a key credential. Why? Because that moment when something finally works, even if it's harder than it should have been, that's the good stuff. That's why we do it, especially when it's free. And on that note, chapter 3 is done. See you in chapter 4, where things will almost certainly get more complicated.
Lovely. Hope you've enjoyed. See you again.